Welcome everybody to the February 3rd meeting of the Harbordale Civic Association. Just so that you know, the meeting is being recorded, and we have 19 people on the call. And tonight we are going to be talking with Commissioner Ben Sorensen, Ben Rogers from the Director of the Transportation Department. And our first and most important subject tonight is going to be an update on the Cordova Road Complete Street project. So I'm going to turn the meeting over without any more introductions, because he needs none, to our Commissioner, Ben Sorensen. Ben, you're up.
Thank you, Marilyn. Happy evening, y'all. Hope everyone's doing well. It's good to be here. We got, look at the city team we have on here. And Marilyn, the first time maybe you've already met her, but it's the first time I'm meeting Shelby Rodriguez. How you doing, Shelby?
Hi, nice to meet you.
I want you to know, Ben, that when they first showed me Shelby's picture, I said, "Are you sure that's not Darcy in disguise?"
Right.
She looks just like her, except for the hair. I'm sorry. That was just a aside. Welcome, Shelby.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Shelby is coming from, let's see, University of Illinois, Chicago. I think I've got that
right. Yep.
Transportation planning there. You got wise and moved south to the warmer weather, so we appreciate that. And we're really excited to have you here as part of the city team. Would you mind, Shelby, just telling us kind of what your role is and what you'll be doing?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Shelby Rodriguez. I am a planner working with Ben Rogers and Karen Walfall in the Transportation and Mobility Department. I'm going to be working in District 4, so also helping out the Harbordale Association with your transportation planning concerns.
Best district in the city.
You say that's all the girls.
I say it's all the girls. You're picking it right. So, and Marilyn and team, you all probably have already figured this out, but so when the city formed a partnership with the MPO, we had a Darcy as our kind of District 4 planner. That relationship between the city and the MPO went away because the county challenged us on that. So I personally really loved having a traffic leader planner specifically for each district, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Clearly,
amen to that.
Yeah, right. Preach it.
Right.
So clearly Karen and Ben Rogers felt the same way. And so that's why we are very, very lucky to have Shelby. So Shelby, we are going to be buddies, and you're going to be buddies with folks here at Harbordale Civic Association. So thank you. And we're glad you're here. Shelby, favorite movie?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one.
One of the top three. I just asked Ben Rogers this, so I'm going to share what Ben Rogers' answer was while you're thinking.
Okay.
One of Ben Rogers' favorite movies, Shawshank Redemption.
That was a good one.
It was on last night, or night before last.
No.
That's a good one. I would say, a good classic is Pretty Woman or Father of the Bride. Any of those are good ones.
Oh, Julia Roberts fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Wise.
But I'm excited to work with you all and help your neighborhood out.
Great. Well,
okay.
We need it and we'll take it. So thank you. So a couple things, Marilyn, I guess so I'll give the highlight, the high-level overview for Cordova Road, and then Ben Rogers can speak more intelligently and detailed on it for me. But so we as a city commission, there was kind of unanimous consensus that the MPO project as it stood without us getting any flexibility was just not the right project for us right now. And so we last week sent a letter to the MPO and the FDOT saying, thank you, but here are our concerns why we think this won't work. So thank you, but no thank you. And so that project's terminated. Now, that does not mean there's no hope and we can't do anything with Cordova Road. So the opposite. So we have about $150,000 allocated for possible improvements of Cordova Road. And when I'm talking about Cordova Road, we all know what I'm talking about, but from 17th Street north for a few blocks. So we've got some possibilities there. So Ben and Karen and Shelby are kind of starting that process of, okay, what can we do with the budget we have in a collaborative effort, us all working and talking together to improve that road segment. So I'll stop there, Maryland, and we can let Ben share more or correct me, and then we can go talk about whatever's next.
Okay,
Perfect. Thanks, Commissioner. So I want to give a brief update on some of the decisions, because I know that Maryland, after we met as a group the last time, we were trying to keep the project alive and kind of flex it into what we needed it to be. But we really had a couple challenges. The first one was that FDOT had a hard timeline to spend the money and expend the funds. And so there wasn't enough time in FDOT's eyes for us to make the adjustments that we talked about, to go back and redesign and see if we could salvage the project within their timeline.
okay.
And so given that, we then went to a plan B and said, what if we take the design over as we talked about, and then tried to repurpose it into a future construction project. And with the amount of redesign work that we needed to do, and it being an unbudgeted expense because the whole design was funded by the grant, we decided that wasn't going to work very well either. And so talking with Commissioner Sorensen and some other leaders, we made the decision to just cancel the MPO grant and then use our city money to fund some solutions. And so Karen has already put pencil to paper. She's got a couple ideas and thoughts, and really wanted to kind of spur the initial conversation so staff can go back and start doing the homework and start figuring things out, and then we can report back in the next couple of weeks with where we're at and what we can do. So Karen, can I turn it over to you?
Sure. So some of the things that we heard that folks were in favor of was the raised intersection at Cordova and 15th. And let me I put together a couple, Marilyn, if you can
I'll make you the host.
let
Hold
me
on.
share. I put together just 2 slides of pictures of an example. So it was the raised intersection at 15th and Cordova. And then the other thing was, can we do crossings with just small little medians, not the full medians that were proposed by the DOT project? And that might be something people are interested in instead of those large medians. So I took a couple pictures of examples of what we have and as those 2. And then if there were other elements that people really wanted to see, we can kind of talk through that. But I think those are the 2. Am I good?
Yeah, and while you're pulling that up, Karen, I just want to say $150,000 might sound like a lot of money if it's just,
Drop in the bucket.
but in a project, it's going to be very constrained. So just keep that.
Hello, who's that?
Let's. I just was wondering, I think what would be helpful for the neighborhood was if we had some, and maybe this obviously isn't for this meeting thing, but I think what would be helpful is if we almost had a menu with costs almost, so we can see what, the trade-off is between, say, the island because I understand once you get into islands, you get into construction of the roadway, and that's where you're getting a lot of cost. So what are the trade-offs for, I'm just going to give an example, a pedestrian refuge versus a raised intersection versus, lighted crosswalk versus XYZ.
Right. So if we can get from you all what you would like to see and start from that point of view, and then we can get the cost estimates. I have a couple, this is a project that the city did on Andrews Ave and First Street. I'm right by City Hall. There is landscaping here now. I didn't have an updated picture to put in here, but with the landscaping, and you have to do the ADA, so you see the yellow mats on each corner to make sure that people can get to the sidewalk as well, and then through the middle. That cost is about $100,000
Oh.
to put this installation.
Can I ask
Right.
you a question, Karen? I'm speaking on behalf of Harbordale and our discussions with Lauderdale Harbors. What we were very enthusiastic about was the idea of the raised intersection at Cordova Road. Lauderdale Harbors, particularly because they're envisioning that as sort of the entrance to their neighborhood, which now looks pretty ratty and undefined. So have you got any idea what the raised intersection costs? Because I remember when we did those maybe 6-7 years ago, they were not that expensive. Of course, prices have probably gone up, but they were in the neighborhood of $35,000. Have you priced them out recently?
I have sent the request to the contractor who did these.
Oh,
I
good.
have not gotten it back yet. But I do anticipate it's less than $100,000. It really, what it is a 6 inches of asphalt put on top of the existing asphalt. So I went out there, I took pictures of the asphalt that was recently put in, because that helps us a little bit. And then I sent it all to him to get a quote, but I have not heard back yet. So I can't say exactly how much it is.
Okay, let's, it's a good beginning to start the discussion. As you say, I don't think we can really give you 100% feedback right now, because this is like kind of new. But those were the things that I think most people were in favor of, was the raised intersection and some form of pedestrian safety for people who are like crazy crossing that street. The other really good part of the project, believe it or not, was the dedicated right-hand turn lane onto 17th Street. Because we all know how the traffic backs up on Cordova Road when everybody is like waiting to make the turn onto 17th Street, and you get caught behind the people who are trying to go straight into the shopping center. Is that something that we could accomplish? I don't think that costs a lot of money, but that would require the permission of the county and probably even the state. Is that something we could accomplish in this project?
That is something we can include on the list. I think the best way to do it would be to repave the whole street so it looks right. And we've tried to just like microblast out the existing lanes and then put it back, and it looks awful, honestly. So you would want to at least mill and resurface that street to do it. The mill and resurface of the entire street would be about $80,000. And then the other thing, in order to make that extra lane, we would have to agree that we would lose a lane going northbound, at least to almost the southern 16th Street, southern 15th Street.
Right, where it would then become back to its 2-lane configuration in front of Buddy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, well, we talked about that. Yeah. All right, well, this is,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
Alex?
I was just wondering, is someone keeping a list? Because I have a few things I'd like to mention just for inquiry.
I have my
purposes.
list.
I'd like to inquire about LED stop signs at 15th. And also I know it's not specifically Cordova Road, but I think those are relatively cheap. But next to the well, I think they need those as well, since we're mentioning it. The one behind the Bank of America on 16th and
So
think it's
coming
6th.
through the parking lot, like the front entrance of the
Yes,
well
yes.
going out? Okay.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people miss that stop sign. I'm just gonna mention it since I have you on the line. But other than that, LED stops, LED lighted, LED crosswalks instead of the wigwags. What the cost would be for redoing the sidewalks, not anything fancy, just fixing them and making them straight, and I guess they'd have to be ADA compliant and whatnot. Making one a crosswalk instead of a mid-block crosswalk, a crosswalk at one of the intersections. And I know that that's not necessarily a cost issue. It's also an issue of looking as to the safety, whether that would be safe, or whether there would be any cost savings by putting the crosswalk at maybe what I would call the intersection, even though it's kind of a T. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
The issue is, and we have looked at that, in where the driveways are on either the north of by where the hair salon is or the south at Winn-Dixie, it doesn't allow you to put it right at that intersection, but we had looked at it.
Okay, all right.
Marilyn?
Oh, what, yeah, who's speaking? Ray?
Is
Ray,
Ray, yeah,
Yes.
Ray. Ben, this went for so long, and now that whole project being killed, I have to tell you, I'm very disappointed. I'm not sure what went on, but as a taxpayer and a resident in the area, that all the time and money and effort, and then just change direction like this.
Yep.
But the main reason that this started all was because of the pedestrians crossing the road from Southport to Winn-Dixie there. And if you don't put a crosswalk, some sort of crosswalk that stops the traffic, that allows the people to cross safely, we're not doing anything here. This all started because of that. And if that's not done, it's just a total waste of time. So that's my 2 cents in it. And
Okay,
Can
and then
I
who's-
just address something? This is Buddy, and I don't know who
Buddy,
I'm
go.
addressing here.
you're
Yeah.
addressing Shelby. She's taking the notes.
Okay, Shelby, listen, everyone wants a safe and good, healthy environment. I totally agree. Everyone wants a softer image. I totally agree. But as the way this went about, when you have about 95% of your constituents that say no and 100% of your businesses that say no, you really can't advance that thing. What makes this country great is we can sit here and talk about it and figure out a way that we can maybe do that and accomplish it, right? Without getting under each other's skin. And yes, crossing the street is important. I cross the street myself. I'm 60 years old. Trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about. My kids come in that restaurant. They go to the school, Harbordale School. I understand. We can do this, but we have to do it like in a right way that's going to be acceptable for the business community and for the people that live in the neighborhood. It was unfortunate that they spent all this money and this time doing this thing that didn't really go in the right direction. And I understand when someone says, well, it's not going to happen, the disappointment. I get it. I totally get it. But I have never sat in so many bloody meetings, and I am like the dullest crayon in the box. I have no clue. I can tell you, but there are people that know stuff. People show me diagrams and stuff like that. I have no clue what they're talking about. All I know is that if you're on the right side of right and you stand on the right side of right, it's going to be good. But when you get like in the wrong side and you got to live with it. You have to live with the decisions you make. And I cross that street. My kids cross that street. My employees cross that street. I don't want to see something go wrong, but we can do it we can get there. We can get there as long as we keep talking and getting to the right point. We can make something happen. We all just have to be a little, aware of each other's issues here.
Can I ask a
Okay.
question?
Yes, who's speaking?
Claudia,
Claudia. Yes, Claudia.
as far as the crosswalk goes, I walk every single day. And I walk in that area. And we're on the south side of Winn-Dixie. There is like a little bit of a crosswalk. Would that be the place to put a nice, safe crosswalk for people to cross the street there? Or are you talking at the end of the beauty shop and across to Winn-Dixie?
Karen?
The original proposal had both locations, definitely where it comes from the Southport Shopping Center across to Winn-Dixie, where there's that little pad that a lot of people cross there already.
Yes.
But then also there's quite a few people who cross between the Southport Raw Bar and now where the butcher shop is in
Yeah,
that location as well.
yeah, I see that. I see it all the time.
Mhm.
It's dangerous. Even the Cordova and 15th Street intersection is dangerous. I mean, like I said, I walk there every day. I take my life in my hands every time I cross anywhere on that corner, or even 10th and 15th, which is where I live on, is 10th.
Yeah.
So-
And what, and to carry on what Claudia said about the safety issue, one of the things that we were disappointed about in the Cordova Road Complete Street project was that the scope did not include sidewalks on the east and northeastern corner. So we were gonna go and spend all this money on this wonderful, beautiful raised intersection, and there would be no sidewalks on one of the corners. And because there were no sidewalks on one of the corners, we couldn't have crosswalks on those corners. So it was a kind of an incomplete proposal.
Incomplete of the complete.
Incomplete of the complete, right. So if, as you're looking at the idea of trying to figure out a way to fund the raised intersection, could you also look into if we were to include sidewalks on that corner, which I've already discussed with the people from Lauderdale Harbors, and they're very much in favor of it. That way we could have crosswalks at that intersection on all four corners. Big improvement for safety, I think. Yes.
Can we look for more grant money someplace? Because none of this is gonna work. We're gonna get,
Well,
everything is very expensive. We lost the huge grant. So now we're stuck with nothing. We need
well,
more
I
money.
don't think we're stuck with nothing. I think that we can have a collaborative, we have
Not for
some.
what is it, 150, 170,000?
Well,
150.
remember, a lot of that money was ate
Nothing.
up on construction of tearing up the roadway. So if we're smart about this, we can do this in a way that actually could look nice, put some nice stuff in there.
Yes, and if we had more money, we could do even more. So Karen, are there grants out there, Commissioner Sorensen? Are there grants out there that could help us with this, improve the project to where it needs to be? Which is crosswalks, better sidewalks, some beautification, I suppose, and that extra turn, the great extra turn onto 17th Street.
Or Ben, Karen, you want to answer
I
that?
mean, in terms of the type of grant that we had, we would have to apply again. And we would be looking at 6 to 7 years from now that we would be able to be eligible for that.
How about, I'm sorry, go on, Cindy.
Is that the only type of grant, Karen, available? Does it have to go?
Most grants in terms of transportation follow the same cycle that the city does for budget. We budget for 5 years, so any new application would be in that new 5th year. So like right now, we're going through a budget cycle for the city. We're starting to think about what our projects are for 6 years from now is what we're planning right now. So we'd have to get in that pipeline unless there's something at a higher level, Ben or the commissioner, that could be done.
Can I mention a source of possible funds? And, I hate to mention this, but we do have a significant number of NCIP dollars stashed away.
What is NCIP?
Oh, buddy, you're gonna love this.
I don't know
For
what
us
that
people
is.
that are not all there.
All right, here's what happens. Harbordale Civic Association participates in a number of volunteer projects throughout the city. And the NCI program is called the
Capital Improvement
Capital
Program.
Improvement Program, right. All the neighborhoods in the city participate in it to the extent that they want. Now, all of those intersections, by the way, were funded with a combination of Broward School Board funds and our NCAP grants. We put a lot of money into those intersections. We got about $30,000 sitting in our sort of bank, NCIP bank. So I am loath to put that on the table without discussing it with my board. But that is some dollars that we could try and leverage for this project. So
I'm talking about $500,000.
And along that route, I mean, I think we need to have a similar meeting with the business community and essentially, have a discussion with them about and see if they're willing to put up a couple bucks to, obviously it's not going to be as much as the grant, but there's an opportunity for maybe a couple bucks if we're short. Like if it's
Great idea.
175,000, they might be able to come up with the 25,000 to get to where we need to be. So I think coming to them and also having some neighborhood funds to match that would definitely make them entice them. But I don't want to speak for them.
Well, can I
Just say.
just, can I say, Marilyn, that?
Yes,
that,
buddy.
Yes, and I understand Cynthia's, point. She's worked hard and really was like looking forward to this. But it has to be something that's going to be amicable, how do you say, amicable to everyone, right? So business and community alike, because the business is attached to the community, right? We are like sister and brother, or brother and brother, or whatever. So we have to do something that is going to be okay. And as long as we're all going, if we all go in the same direction, the business community would reach out. I have a 9-foot sidewalk in front of my restaurant. It's a very big sidewalk. Could we make it look nicer? Yeah, probably. Those smart people that are out there can do stuff with 9 feet of sidewalk. We have we have things we can do. There's things. I know that you want to see something, Cynthia, and several other people, more safety, and I do too. Like I said, I cross the street. We can do it. You've kind of forced us to become a little organized, so we're now a little bit more organized because we have to look out for our interests, right? So we should be a partner to help to keep everyone happy. I want you coming to my restaurant, and I don't want you getting run over by a car. And I want you to be able to feel happy that you guys have got your end or something. We have to meet somewhere in the thing, we could do it. But what was proposed was definitely not going to happen. When you have all these people against it, and you have, you didn't have enough thing going on there to make it
The
happen.
wrong information was given out and got a lot of people.
Well,
misinformed.
okay.
Regardless, we can
Guys,
move past
Needless
that.
to say
and
how it, needless to say how it got there. The thing is what
Let's
I'm
work
saying
together.
is, yes,
Can
if we
I,
work to.
can I just say,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, I've lived long enough to be disappointed in many projects, and you have to get over it. You have to move forward. And
Right.
out of the ashes, you have to find something that, to salvage something. And truth to tell, sometimes you end up with something better than what
Better.
you had,
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
Maybe not as grand, but it does the trick. So what I think we should do is, this has been a good beginning. And now that we have Shelby on our team, I think the next thing we should do is we should focus on a meeting just on this, not on, a regular HCA meeting, but we should call a community meeting to sit and talk about what we think we can salvage from the project, or even some new ideas that were not on the table at the time. Does that sound like a way forward to you, Shelby? Hello?
Hi, yes, I think if that's the way you think we should proceed, then we should get more inputs.
Yeah, I think I don't think we want to make the mistake that happened last time, that because of COVID, we did not get as broad a representation as we possibly could. And I think a lot of people now are focused on this and are thinking about it. And I think that if we could call a meeting, just a virtual meeting, obviously, just about this, and ask people to come and look at a couple of these ideas, we might be able to come to a consensus on where we're going to move forward. Because if we don't come up with a plan, we're never going to get anywhere. We have to have an agreed upon plan that we can move forward on. Otherwise, all the good efforts of the people in the transportation department and all the good efforts of our commissioner are not going to go anywhere unless we come up with something that we're all in agreement with. Would you agree on that, people?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's exactly what our country is about, Marilyn, right? That's
Oh.
what we do. We sit here, we can sit there and agree to disagree and work our differences out and say that as long as we can each carry each other along this thing, we're all good for it. I mean,
All right.
the long-term projection where you're going is the long-term projection of where I'm going too. The same thing. I don't plan on going anywhere.
Mhm.
And my family doesn't plan on going anywhere. And I've been in that little spot for years, as of those other people. The one gentleman you've never met, because he won't do computer and he won't do stuff like this. And he's a very old guy, but he's smart as a tack. And he's right. I mean, he built his little place there, and he was old when I first met him. He's very old now, and he has a point. You can't do what was going on there, but we can do something else. And he had drawings. He drew stuff, and he had ideas of how we could go about doing this. And,
Well, we
you know,
gotta get
so
him on-
I believe it can happen.
Yeah.
You know, but it has to happen where the businesses are going to support it, and when supporting it, they can contribute to it.
Okay.
But something that comes along and wants to, you know, shut you off, you're not going to be very supportive of it.
Okay.
That wasn't always happen.
All right, we have to move forward. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna work with Shelby. We're gonna get together. We're gonna put together a community sort of discussion. I don't know, we'll call it something, Shelby. A community discussion on where we go now on Cordova Road. And we'll put something on the table. When we put it on the table, then we can price it out and see where we go from there. Does that sound like a plan to everybody?
Sure.
Hello?
Sure.
Okay. Ben, was there anything else you wanted to say in terms of traffic plans for our neighborhood?
I
Ben?
don't have any updates.
Okay,
Karen?
No?
no, all right. Commissioner, do you want
Well,
to add
ac-
anything else? Yeah, Ben,
Actually,
I'm sorry.
Marilyn, I can give you one update. The corner of 17th Street and Federal Highway, the bus stop that is on the east side of the road, where staff removed the shelter and the bench about 6 or 8 months ago. We're going to be doing some landscaping and some improvements in that area probably next week or the week after. So you'll see some modifications to that area, and hopefully we'll have a positive outcome.
Are you gonna take the cement retaining wall out?
We're going to leave the retaining wall in for support, but we're going to bury it. So
Okay.
the dirt will be backfilled over it, and then there'll be some sod and some planters going in around it.
Okay,
Sounds
well, let's hope that will make a difference. Although I must tell you, Commissioner, we are having a really, really hard time with the homeless. They are now decided that they are gonna camp out in our park. And that's very bad news. That's very, very bad news, because that was not a problem prior to all of this problem with COVID, and the shelters are not taking people. And the homeless problem seems to just be getting worse and worse and worse. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, COVID has led to a spike in homelessness nationwide, and it is only getting worse around the country. And our supply of affordable and workforce housing around the country continues to be far, far lower than what it should be. So we are, as you all know, I'm passionate about homelessness and helping, and about developing workforce and affordable housing. So we have units that are coming online at Point Sienna Crossing, which is 17th Street. I'm excited about a project in Broadview, which is out west. So we are taking city land and basically turning it into affordable and workforce housing development, which is something I've pushed very hard for. So we're going to keep doing that. We are going to be continuing to enforce the laws as we can constitutionally. As you all know, there are constitutional limits that prevent law enforcement from taking certain actions against homeless individuals. In other words, you can't just tell someone sitting on a bench you have to leave, or so forth. So that it's a constant kind of work in progress. But that's the first I've heard about the park. So Marilyn, if you can send me an email, we'll get
Absolutely.
our homeless outreach officers to reach out and work on, services. One of the great things about our city is we have a lot of service providers, and we actually have a lot of housing possibilities for those who are interested. A lot of, when I'm sitting on 17th Street and sitting in a chair and talking to homeless folks on 17th Street, for example, despite everything I offer them for services and apartments and so forth, they just decline it. So it's just a constant work in progress. So we're gonna keep at it.
Okay. Ray, you have your hand up. You want to talk about the park? Ray? Yes.
No, that hand was up
Oh,
for the
okay.
previous thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Okay,
all.
but you're right across from the park. do you get the sense that it's a different group of people as I do? It's not the same people that are on the corner.
No, I'm not sure who they are,
Okay.
but there's definitely more.
All right, well, that
Which
impacts
park are you referring to?
the little Harbordale Park
On
on
Miami
18th
Road.
Court on Miami Road. You don't even know there's a park there, right? There's a park.
Yeah,
There's our little
I
park.
can't take my daughter there because it's, you know, they're always camped, and part of the issue, I mean, a couple times I've seen people drop off coolers there. So it kind of attracts folks to the park.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, you know, I'll tell you another thing, Commissioner Sorensen. We're trying to get a new park over on 12th Street. The park next to the Aqua Vista townhouses. And immediately I get the same response from people when I talk to them. It's, oh no, the homeless. Oh no, the homeless.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a terrible thing to be not in a position to increase the amount of open space and recreational space in the city because people are so afraid of the homeless issue. So it's, you know, it's a fear that they have justifiably because you just go to the Harbordale Park and you see it, but you never saw it before. It was such a wonderful park. It was completely used by children and people reading books, mentioning the books because we have a little library there. And now it's you can't use it anymore. And I'm hoping that when things get back to normal and we start, you know, doing more in terms of outreach to the homeless, that the problem will abate. But I'm telling you, I'm having a hard time convincing people that parks and open space is a good idea until we can solve the homeless problem. So it's a real problem.
But I think it's not only restricted to parks, to be very honest. We do have the problem right now here, even on 16th Court, across from McDonald's. Someone started to live there with his little shopping cart and his belongings. I don't know if you're aware of that. So I think it's not only parks, it's just in general right now the problem.
Yeah.
As Ben mentioned, it's increased during COVID-19.
Carol, you had something? Carol, you have to unmute yourself, Carol. Unmute. And then Alex.
Okay, the police just, with a dump truck, whatever, sewer truck, sanitation truck, just moved that guy and his shopping cart condo out of there yesterday morning. So he's gone. The guy who was up by the Speedway gas station facing Whole Foods with his 3 shopping carts, they took all that away. Police were there. A cop was there, so he's gone. Yay.
Yay. Okay, Alex, you had something to add?
Yeah, I think what this also brings into play what we discussed earlier with regard to the convention center and the open area, Maryland, that's going to be there by the water. And I think I voiced concern, and I know several did, that we're going to have this park there, and it's just going to be an attraction for the homeless to come. And I think with all the money that's being spent there, there's going to be a concerted effort to really just do something. And I appreciate the COVID thing made it worse. But I mean, this is what I'm afraid of with that open area around there. And they say, well, we'll have security. But we've all heard that before. So I think it's something to keep in mind. Maryland, as you know, on the corner of Eisenhower and 17th, where the bus stop is there, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone by there and there's been a man with his shirt off and sleeping and all his belongings there.
Yeah,
And-
it's bad. It's bad everywhere, Alex.
It's
Yeah.
naked. I mean, it's naked
Aaron?
people too. And I think, you know, just based on the area and based on, I'm sorry, I don't know what the last gentleman who spoke's name is.
Alex.
But based on what Alex said as well, you know, I think the county bears some responsibility. And Ben, if you could maybe talk, I know you do a lot with homeless and you do a lot coordinating with the various agencies and such, but maybe see if there's some interest on the level of the county, or maybe talk to Stacy Ritter and see if she has some connections, because I think Stacy might be a decent advocate here. She doesn't want people, the first thing they see when they come visit, they don't want to, you don't want to see a homeless encampment, or you don't want our tourists seeing that. So I think based on where we are in the county, there's some currency, let's call it, for some additional help for the area.
Yeah, I've long advocated for the county to use the stockade as a homeless shelter to increase beds and services and so forth. And we get absolutely nowhere with the county. So I think the idea of Stacy Ritter is a good one, Aaron. And I haven't reached, I work with the county every day on homelessness and shelters and so forth, but I've never engaged Stacy Ritter. I think that's a good idea and it's worth a shot. So the more, greater the number, the better. So yeah, I'll do that as well. And then as you all are residents of County Commissioner Tim Ryan's district, we all are. So in addition to me needing to continue to work on this, reach out to Commissioner Tim Ryan and just say, hey, what's your plan for the homelessness? How are you helping? Tell us what your thoughts are, because that way it can create just even more urgency for us, for working on that.
Yeah. Good point. Before we lose Karen, and maybe Ben may still be with us, the Whole Foods Market on 17th Street, you have identified, I know Chris Lagerbroom had sent us an email having identified a number of problems with the exit of cars going onto 17th Street and making that illegal left-hand turn. And also, you can't see. I mean, you can't make that turn. There's a planter there. You can't see what you're doing. He made some suggestions for improvements there that he was going to talk to the developer about. Do you have any update on those? I know Ray and I were talking about this just before.
Yeah, I can speak to that. Hang on one second, Mary. Let me pull up my notes. So for the left turn from 17th into the development, we've requested signage from the county. They're reviewing it right now, have not provided us with an update, but we will continue to work with them to get no left turn signs added to the median. The developers team is working on what we consider the pork chop device. So as you're exiting the garage, the thing that would make you turn right. They're providing new sketches and designing that right now. We're waiting on that from them. They're making modifications by removing the substandard warning signs that they put out there. They're coordinating warning signs at the lane of the ramp, convex mirrors for additional visibility. And we're hoping to have some stuff back in the next 3 to 4 weeks. One issue that is not resolved right now is the height of the planter wall. Staff had some concerns that that would limit visibility. And that one's still negotiations on how to rectify that. As of right now, the developer is not taking any responsibility since it was built to the spec. So we still have a lot in the works, but we are trying to move it along.
Can I ask you if there was any discussion about modifying the median so that it's not so wide there? It's so wide that it just sort of invites you to make that turn. If you could, adjust the size of the opening and the location of the opening, you want to be able to make the left-hand turn in, but you don't want to be able to make the left-hand turn out. So has any consideration been given to modifying that median?
I believe so. I have to go back and look through my email strings with my staff to see what some of the responses were. But obviously that was something that wasn't on my most up-to-date update. So I will check with them, but we are trying to make some of the modifications that we can, some of the easier, simple ones at this point.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. That's a good update. Did you get that, Ray? Is Ray with?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, okay. All right, well, I think we've had a really good discussion here. We have a way forward. And now we just have to get to it and provide Karen and Ben and Shelby a plan. Does anybody have anything else they want to add to that?
I have a question.
Yes.
Over on the Eisenhower, north of 17th Street, between the hotel there's no the median lights have not worked for months. Are you aware of the reason why? When they built that median between the apartments there and then the new retail space and the hotel, just north on, I don't know, is that street called Eisenhower? It's a private street. Why are the median lights not on?
Could you be a little more specific?
You know, when you okay, you come out of the, let's say you come out of the Walgreens by the convention center, and you
Gotcha.
go north into that street. I believe it's still called Eisenhower.
Yeah, it's a private street, Eisenhower, yes.
Right, and there's a median in there, and the lights in the middle of the median haven't been on for months at night. Anybody know any reason why?
I would venture to say because it's a private street, it's not a street.
Well, if they were originally, you know, supposed to have median lights, there's a reason they spent money on lights. The lights should probably be turned on.
Yeah, we can, Greg, I don't have any firsthand knowledge of it, but to Marilyn's point, that is a private street. It's not a city street. So we can review it. I know there are light poles in the median, so we can reach out to the property owner and see if they have a reason or what the story is.
Thank you.
Okay. Does
Marilyn?
anybody, yes.
I have to drop off. I've got to get to soccer practice or else I'm going to be in trouble. So
Okay, thank you very much,
appreciate it.
Ben.
Good seeing everyone.
Thanks, Ben.
Take care. Okay, does anybody have any other questions for our commissioner? Because I can see his girls flirting back and forth back there, and he probably's got to get home too. Anything else for the commissioner? All right, thank you, Ben. Thank you very much.
Yep.
For
Thank y'all.
coming.
Amen.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share our screen, share screen, and we'll go to the remainder of our agenda. Share. Okay, can everybody see my agenda there?
Yep.
All right, so we've done Commissioner and Ben Rogers. President's report, I'm just letting you know that the meetings are being recorded, and I'm trying to figure out a way to post the recordings on our website so that people who were not able to attend the meeting can view them. Treasurer's report is attached. Obviously, it's not attached, but we have money. Actually, I want to thank a number of new members. I think Claudia is a new member. She's on the meeting here. Claudia?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Hi, Claudia. And who else is a new member? I know Scott. Greg is a new member. He just joined. So we've got a number of new members on the call tonight, which is a good thing. Southeast 10th Avenue restoration. Okay. You know that Bob Dugan, who's a member of our Civic Association, Scott, Bursa, and Cindy, have been working on the restoration. Here's a little photograph of me, Scott, and Mark Williams on site. We meet on site. We've been talking about the planting plan. And this is a photograph of our new butterfly garden, okay? You might
Marilyn,
recall.
we can't see it.
Yeah. You can't hear me?
No, we can't see it. You just need to stop screen share and then put the photograph. Are you trying to show us the picture?
Yeah, you don't see it?
No, you have to stop sharing.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I just thought I'd let you know.
Wait a minute, thank you. You are
You're
screen
welcome.
sharing. Stop share. What? That's stop share. Screen share.
Now you do
Go
screen
to
share.
it. There you go.
on the
Okay,
phone.
I got it. Thank
No
you, thank you. Now you guys can see it, right?
Yep.
It's in the little green box? Okay.
Yep.
This is the area at the end of 10th Avenue. It makes the turn going into 12th Street. You might recall that was a overgrown weeds and trash. Well, as part of the restoration, we were able to negotiate with the contractor that he would clean it all out, and he planted some sod just to keep the weeds from coming back. And instead of having that industrial guardrail, we got him to put in these bollards instead, and they're all going to be painted Harbordale blue at some point. And Cindy, are you still with us, darling? I know she's.
I am.
Okay, well, you want to talk a little bit about the planning for the garden?
Well, we're also working with Joan Starr from the Snyder Park Butterfly Garden. She's been great help. So we have yet to plot out exactly what our plantings will be, but we have an idea. We have a good idea of some of the things. And again, they're all for attracting so that the butterflies and other pollinators as well. We want this to be a pollinator garden for bees and other flying insects, but so that they can make their cocoons there, but also feed there. So that will be that. We'll put a little pathway in so that it could be handicapped accessible, a bench or two, and we're thinking it will be very lovely, and it'll be, it'll be some maintenance, but pretty low maintenance, because all the plants will be either Florida natives or Florida friendly. And Scott, who's recently joined us, has just been wonderful in helping, finding plants, and his knowledge of native Florida plants is unmatched. So I feel we're very, very lucky to have the little crew that we have. Anybody, Carol has also been a meaningful part of this, but anybody that is interested specifically in this butterfly garden project, let me know. Again, I am in a cast and probably off my feet for the next 3 months, but I'm working from home and I'm available, and that's it. We're really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a beautiful addition to our neighborhood.
And I see Scott is still with us. Scott, do you want to say something about the planting plan that we've been working on?
Well, I think it's important to say that the butterfly garden is actually just an extension of the planting plan that will be done along 10th Avenue. So we are looking to, sort of change it up a bit from the original monoculture of single palms and bushes we had in there. And so we're trying to tie in some native plants to the strip along 10th Avenue, and then kind of have it end there or near the butterfly garden. And so as soon as Marilyn, you say we've got all the comments in on that, I know the contractor has got to then confirm that the plant list that we put together and the plant availability for what we're looking for the 10th Avenue strip is ready to go. So hopefully we'll be able to get that done. I know we've been hoping now for months to have 10th Avenue finished. We're getting there slowly.
Yeah, and I want to thank all of the neighbors who've been, putting up with the disruption and the dust and the wrong way traffic on both sides, north and south. People on the south side of 10th Avenue in the Village East and the new apartment building there, all were incredibly inconvenienced. But it had to be done, and now we have a brand new 54-inch sewer pipe that takes all of the effluent from the entire city, and hopefully we won't have any more breaks like we've had in the last couple of years. And I personally want to thank Cindy and Carol and Scott and Bob Dugan for taking the lead on 10th Avenue. We're really blessed to have people who are right there in the neighborhood and would have the skills and the knowledge to interface with the contractor and the city, and to, I think, get something that we're all going to be really, really proud of. It's going to be different than what it was. It's going to be really, really interesting. Okay. All right. So thank you. Yes. What?
Can I say something about
Sure.
10th Avenue?
Sure.
As somebody who's, I would say, been very involved in traffic over the last few month or two, it came as a kind of a surprise to me that it was closed. So is there a way to get notifications from the city when these roads are going to be closed like that? Because I'm sure, it obviously wasn't something that just happened.
Well, the city always sends out notifications through the normal. Can somebody mute themselves back there, wherever that is? Thank you. The city always sends out notifications via email, and sometimes they actually even go around the neighborhood and put door hangers on the neighborhood to let people know. It's not a perfect system, and there's always somebody who gets caught by surprise, but they do their best. I think with what they have, they do their best.
How do they get on that? How do I get on that list?
Well,
Do you
I'll
have
find
city
out.
staff here today?
I'll find out.
Maybe
Usually
someone
what
on
they
city
do,
staff answer,
us-
Shelby?
usually what they do is they send it to the owners of record. They have a list of the owners of record. Are you a renter or an owner?
I'm a renter, but I mean,
That's
there's
probably
still,
why. They send it to
Okay.
all the property owners. But we can talk about that. I'm sure
I
that
think
there's
we are
a
an
way to
owner
get.
and we still did not get any notification to figure it out in front of our own house. I mean,
Wow.
I think it is
they
what it
must have,
is.
they must have
And-
an email list somewhere.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. I think what is also not really
Well,
plannable.
can Shelby maybe? Or
I don't know.
somebody
I'll
that's the
take
city?
care.
Yeah.
Shelby's only been here for a few days,
Oh.
but
Go to water serve.
no, it should be, and I don't know how Public Works does it particularly. We're in transportation, but I know when we do projects, we at least send it out through Nextdoor, and we send it to the HOA. So I don't know if Public Works does that, but maybe it could be something that you advocate for to make sure that they notify at least through the HOA and Nextdoor that people are notified.
Well, they
Yeah,
do
but
send, they do send a notice to the HOA and I put them in the Harbordale News. So, you know, I can only give you what they give me and I turn it around and send it out in a Harbordale News. Keep your eye open for Harbordale News. But we'll talk with them and see if there's another way that we can get more coverage on that. All
I
right.
think
Only the city social media outlets through Twitter, Instagram,
You know,
Facebook.
Does
not
does
everybody is-
Public Works send you the road closures, Karen, or is it their own department that advertises it, so to speak?
It's their department for their project. We don't get them.
Mhm.
Interesting.
That's true, yeah. David Mancini, actually, you know David Mancini, the contractor? He puts together a maintenance of traffic plan, and that's like a sort of a map of which streets are gonna be closed vis-a-vis which, you know, phases of the construction. I get those, I turn them around into Harbordale News and send them out to the entire contact list, not just members. I send it to everybody who's ever expressed any interest in Harbordale. So we get a pretty good distribution there. We could do it more often. I hate to fill people's email boxes with, you know, multiple copies of the same notice, but we'll see if we can improve on that, Aaron. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes, Greg.
Thank you. On 15th, Southeast 15th Street, does anybody have an ETA on the finish of the sewer restoration here on Southeast 15th?
No, but I can find out for you. I'll make a note and I'll get it to you.
Yeah, a number of people have stopped me on the street and asked me if I had any idea. The other question was, somebody had asked me if there was any idea if there was going to be a resurfacing of the street now that the cuts have been made across and across and across up and down the street. Was there any
Oh,
idea?
you mean 10th Avenue? All
No,
of 10th Avenue or 15th Street?
Southeast 15th Street, where they're doing all the cross cuts. They're cutting across the street to replace the sewer.
I'll
sewer
find out. I'll find out when I ask them about the sewer project, what the repaving plan is, okay?
Thank you so much.
Sure, we'll do. All right, so the only other thing I have on the agenda is recycling audit volunteers needed. Carol, are you still with us? Carol?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Can you explain to everybody what the recycling audit is? It's so exciting. You have no idea how exciting this is.
Oh, shut up. First of all, I want to thank our stupendous helpers, Vicki, Amy, myself, Marilyn, Diana we have gone out and done these audits. There is an application on the phones. We take our phones and tablets out. There are several neighborhoods that are going on at the same time. It's 2 hours, 1 day a week for 3 weeks, and then we finish that audit. We're going through the blue recycle bins with gloves on. We're just lifting the top, looking down to see if there's plastic bags, car parts, smelly food, yard waste, whatever. We mark on the computer what we found. There are cute little tags that we put on the little recycle bin saying, good job, or oops, you missed this. And then we mark off what they've done wrong. No styrofoam, please, no diapers, no pizza boxes, things like that. And then a picture is taken of us looking, the picture is taken of the contents on the top when you open up the lid, and that goes with the address. So when the person says, I don't understand why you did this, we'll say, look, there's the diapers, there's the Krispy Kreme, here's the pizza box, you know, whatever, it's right there, and it's attached to that address. The following week, we go back to the same route, and there are maybe 8 or 9 volunteers doing a neighborhood. Sometimes the neighborhoods are done twice, and we'll see from week to week, oh, look, this guy that got a, I'm sorry, you're a sucky recycler, is now getting a little sign that says, good job. And they are learning from week to week. And I think the ladies can all attest that it's a nice feeling to know you're reaching out and you're helping somebody do the right recycling, and they had no guidance before. So it's fun. And we have more coming up. Amy and I just did Shady Banks today. We'll do it for the next 2 weeks. Marilyn and Vicky are doing River Oaks. It's a fun thing. We're outdoors. It's nice. We're not touching the garbage. We're lifting the lid, and we have on, you know, the safety gloves, and looking down in the lid and making note like, oh, look, here it is. This is a good job or whatnot. And it's these tiny little victories. So it's a nice program. And we're doing it with Karina Flores with the recycling, and Stephanie McCutcheon, who's also doing this. I mean, they are the leaders, but it's fun. I think you can ask most of the ladies and they'll agree. It's a good time.
And I think that you would think that you would run into some resistance, and you know, in the neighborhood when you're walking around and you know you're looking into people's garbage and they come out of their house and
yeah, what are you doing at my
right? What are you doing with my garbage? It's like I'm stealing their garbage. But you know, when you talk to them and you explain to them what they're doing and what they did wrong and what they could do better, they are so appreciative.
They
really,
are.
I did not know. I did not know I couldn't do that. So it's really a very fulfilling kind of a thing. So we need volunteers is what this is all about.
Exactly.
And we need more volunteers.
Say that one more time for emphasis.
Right. We need more volunteers. So you all know Carol Sirotto. She, I can, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send around another Harbordale news, because there's other news that needs to be distributed. And right up front, I'm going to say, contact Carol Sirotto to volunteer for recycling audits. It's God's work. It's outdoors. It's fun. It's really, really appreciated. And if you're really, really into recycling and you want to do something, you know, not just talk about it, but you want to make a difference, this is an ideal opportunity for you. I'm getting off my soapbox.
How do we volunteer?
Okay.
Pardon?
How do we volunteer, Erin? If you're interested, I'm going to send you Carol's email right after this meeting. Oh, you know what,
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Put it in the chat. Put your email in the chat.
What
You know how
is
to do that?
How many
No.
days commitment is it? How
It's
many weeks or whatever?
One day a week for 3 weeks. And there are a few more neighborhoods we don't, it's three different weeks.
Yeah.
1 day a week, 2.5 hours that day.
Okay,
The
I'm in.
big thing,
And I want
love
to say
you.
something.
I
wanted
love
to tell-
you.
Yes.
Greg, are you in too?
No,
Oh.
but I do want to add a request. I love that 5-finger idea, you know, that showed what can and can't go in the can.
That's this program. That's this program. Yeah.
Yes, I understand. Perhaps we could pop it back on next door a couple of more times, because even I did not know some of the rules, and I've been following recycling for years. I was unaware of it. So just throw that little 5-finger thing up there a couple more times. You know, if you guys can, I don't know if you can pop it on next door or whatever.
Right.
Because
Okay.
it was very informative to me. I was putting my stuff in plastic bags.
Right.
Oh, and the biggest thing,
Well, I didn't know.
and bigger than the grateful feeling you get in your deep in your heart, we're earning money for
Yes.
Harbordale.
I wasn't going to mention the money, but
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
And I want to say, I have to say that, Carol, I enjoyed it with you, and my part of it that I loved was I did the pictures and I did the little map thing, and it was so cool because on my iPhone or my phone, my smartphone, I was able to go to the next place, with Carol, and it was really cool. But I do have to tell you that, Carol, you're amazing with it. You're so easy with the people. They come out, I'm like, and Carol's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And she's just so like sweet that they can't help but just back down and be nice to her and listen to her. And and like Carol said, I witnessed them saying, oh, I didn't know that. And I learned a lot because I learned about the bags just like you did, Greg. I didn't know that those Publix bags are not recyclable. And I would put my stuff in there. So I learned myself. So I want to thank you, Carol, for being patient with me. You were great.
okay, I'm
Well, thank you.
gonna get that out again to everybody. And Carol, I'm gonna connect you up with Aaron vis-a-vis
Thank
email.
you.
So we got
Thank you.
another volunteer. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's
Thank
8:09, and that concludes our agenda. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about that's going on that we're not aware of? Anja?
I would like to bring that up, but we can discuss it in the next meeting. It's still about this traffic through our street here.
Oh,
Actually, a lot of Southeast 10th Avenue, a lot of cut-through traffic, the brand new grass that was put down now by David Mancini. They drove through our front yard. They drove through actually that complex where Dob Dugan lives. They destroyed it twice. It was redone. Now it's destroyed again. So I really would like to discuss maybe some ideas or options, or maybe what we all can come up with, what we could do about it. It's last night, I can only say a couple parked in front of in our front yard basically, and use it as a toilet. And these are definitely not our neighbors, okay? And we are the ones who pick up
oops.
the tissue paper next day. It's a lot of through traffic that does not belong here and does not really drive in a considerable way for kids through here, and does not pay any attention to the brand new grass and the, let's really say, brand new, at least partly beautification we got back to our neighborhood.
Mhm. Okay, Sydney, this is an issue that we need to talk about post the restoration, the direction of the traffic on the street.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, so we can talk about that as a separate items. And Anja's right, that's a whole different discussion. Okay, anything else?
I have
Yes,
a question.
Diana. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm this is not anything against cats, but I want to know if anyone's noticing this cat issue that's really big in our neighborhood. I know that my son was walking his dog Sunday night because he's staying with me because he bought a new place, so he's interim closing, staying with mom. And the cat actually attacked my son and the dog, a couple of cats. So no, and now I walk with a walking stick. Not that I want to hit a cat, I really don't, but I don't want them attacking me. I'm terrified of, as Carol knows, of a lot of things.
Which street is that on?
I live on 15th, which has a lot of bad traffic too, by the way. But it's that whole corner. It's by Harbordale Elementary. Is that 10th Avenue? I'm really bad with that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's those cable boxes. You know how they have those cable boxes on 16th Street right now? They hang out there. They hang out in this field on 16th Street that has like little chains that says no trespassing by a big, beautiful tree. And then there's a lot that has a gate across from the elementary school. They're there. And I've been seeing them around the neighborhood. So I just, even up by Bank of America and, so I'm now nervous because, I see a lot of them.
There's a couple folks in the neighborhood I know behind like the pizza, Papa John's in that lot. There's someone who feeds them. There's someone who feeds them behind behind Outback, between those two restaurants there. And there's someone, you know, there's people who feed them in the neighborhood, and technically the county has a law where they're supposed to comply with all kinds of regulations. You know, they're supposed to get them neutered and stuff, but none of these folks ever do, and nobody enforces the law. So you may want to call the county
Oh,
and
feel
see if
bad to do
they'll
that.
enforce it.
No, you know what I'm gonna do? I work for Broward Humane Society. I'm a foster mother for kittens, so I'm
Okay.
sensitive to the kittens.
No,
But no, I'm just kidding. But you know, they have a way of trapping the feral cats. You know, they have traps, humane traps for the feral cats, and then they take them in at the Humane Society. And as long as they're not, you know, sick or irredeemable, what they'll do is they'll spay and neuter them, and then they'll release them. So at least it's a one generation thing. But what I'm thinking is, you know, a lot of people are letting their animals go because they can't
that's
take care of them. And you know,
not fair. One of them I thought looked like he was starving when I saw one, and my son said that, you know, I mean, they attacked the dog, a chocolate lab, that two of them, and was latched onto my son's girlfriend's foot. And I mean, I couldn't believe it when they came back and told me this on Sunday night. And then I've gone out and seen them. They just like, some of them are like just staring you down, like, and I'm like, geez, you know. They didn't attack me when I've seen them, but it's at night. It's not in the day. But in the day, I did see a cat fight the other day, two cats attacking each other. I don't know what's going on, but I'm worried about them because I think they're starving. Number one, I think they're abandoned. Number two, and then, you know, I don't want to hurt any animal anyway, period, or person. But if a cat attacks me, what am I going to do?
no,
I
I absolutely understand. And let me get with my friends at the Broward Humane Society, because I have a feeling that if we're experiencing this, this is something everybody's experiencing. So maybe there's something that, some solution that other people have found that we could try. Or we could just,
Marilyn?
yes, who's calling?
Okay,
Tara.
I've been a 10-year volunteer with the Humane Society. They have temporarily done away with their spay and neuter program for feral. It's been maybe 7-8 months now. They don't know when they're going to start it. They don't have a program to go out and trap the cats. Some places will have the people come and we will let them borrow the traps. They have to get the animals spayed someplace else. We only spay the animals we're adopting out.
Why, is that because of funding?
COVID.
Oh, because of COVID.
COVID and personnel not coming back to the center.
Okay, I understand.
I
You see
have
that? Yeah.
comments about the cats. I've been taking care of the Village East feral cats for, I don't know, 10 plus years. As for, you know, the feral cats being worried about them attacking you, it's pretty rare that you're going to have that kind of behavior from a cat that's not being threatened by a dog. So you know, the cats that
my chocolate lab did not threaten my chocolate lab is very sweet.
It's not an aggressive behavior that I'm talking about, but they're big animals. That's not a very common behavior for these cats. I've been doing this for a very long time. There are some organizations that will do trap and release. There's a vet clinic called DPC. You can contact them and see if you can find the group of volunteers that go and set these traps up to do trap and release.
Okay, Pam, can you make that
issue?
Yes, just a second, Aaron. Can you give me the information, whatever information you have about that?
Yeah, I'll give you the contact information for that vet, and hopefully they can get you to the community volunteers that are doing that.
Thank you very much. I want to pursue that because I love cats and I want to help them. Aaron.
Yeah, the population was far worse. They've gone around in our community several times. There's a lot of cats at the bistro Outback area that have notched ears. So you look for their clipped ears, and that's an indication that they've been trapped and released.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's, that's my point, is that we need to, I don't have a problem with the cats necessarily. I like cats. I have cats myself, but they need to be trapped and released, because you can't let it get out of control. And
Yeah.
it's, if we have people feeding them, great, that's awesome. I don't want them to be hungry, but it's their responsibility then to trap and release those cats. That's what the law says.
Okay, well,
And they
we'll
need
get
to
that.
do it.
We'll get that information. We'll spread it around and see if we can't get some progress on this issue, because it's going to get worse until COVID gets better, and even then, God knows.
And the
Okay.
chocolate lab is a sweet chocolate lab that wouldn't hurt a fly, and was
sure
just
it
doing
is.
her little walk with my son, not even near the cat. So
I'm
maybe
sure.
the cat, my son thought maybe the cat had babies and was protecting their baby. We don't know, but I wasn't going to find out. But it attacked my son, the dog, my son's girlfriend, and the chocolate lab. It did, and you can talk to them. They're here.
Okie dokie. So again, we're at 8:19. If there's nothing else anybody wants to talk about, I think we can wrap this meeting up. And our next meeting will be not before our next meeting. We will have a meeting to talk about the Cordova Road going forward with Shelby and other people from the Transportation Department. You with me, Shelby? Okay, excellent. All right. I think that's it. I'm going to call the meeting to a close. I'm going to stop the recording, and thank you everybody for coming, and keep in touch. Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.